So hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Encore Live. My name is Sabrina Nikoloff, and I'm an original director here at Encore Tours. Thank you for taking the time out of your day today to travel to Iceland with us. Before we get started, just a few notes on the setup of the event. I'm sure everyone is quite familiar with Zoom at this point in the year. However, I did just want to mention that the webinar format works slightly differently than a regular Zoom meeting. All attendees are muted, and you can see us, but unfortunately, we cannot see you. However, we do want this to be really interactive, so please use the Q&A function to ask any questions that you might have, and we'll do our best to answer all of them by the end of the webinar. Additionally, I did want to just let you know that this is being recorded, and it will be available to watch on our blog as soon as tomorrow. So please feel free to watch again or share it with anyone who may be interested. Today, I'm very fortunate to be joined by our Icelandic colleagues, Margaret and Hlín, who provide lots of wonderful insight and knowledge into the travel highlights and musical opportunities that exist in Iceland. Hello, Margaret.
Hello, everyone. My name is Margrét Sigurjónsdóttir, and I am Encore Tours representative in Iceland. I live in the elf town Hafnarfjörður in the greater Reykjavik area, and I have been working in the field of tourism for over 20 years. I am an educated German teacher and as well as a tour guide.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Margaret. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to introduce our wonderful colleague, Hlín. Hello, Hlín.
Hi, thank you. My name is Hlín Pétursdóttir Berens, and I am a singer, an opera singer, and I was educated in Germany, and I was active in Europe, mostly Germany, for over a decade. And now I live back in Iceland. I teach a lot, sing a lot, and conduct a choir. And I am also a certified tour guide. So I've had the pleasure to accompany some of the groups and music ensembles that Margaret has brought to Iceland.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both for joining us today. It's great to have you here. So Iceland is known for its breathtaking landscapes, but many musicians may not know that the country has a storied musical history and a number of spectacular performance venues. We're going to spend the next hour or so taking a tour around Iceland, learning more about these fantastic performance venues and examining the important role that music plays in Icelandic culture. It's truly a hidden gem and offers a unique combination of easy accessibility, incredible natural beauty, of course, and these fantastic world-class performance venues. And despite a total population of less than 400,000 citizens, it's also home to many accomplished and well-known bands and musicians such as Björk and Sigur Rós. The country has also produced several Grammy and Golden Globe Award winners in recent years. So Hlín, I'd like to jump in and ask you, why do you think Iceland has such a rich music history in music scene, despite its small size?
Yes, I think I can approach this question from two angles. First of all, education. There is a very efficient net of music schools all around the country. Even in the most remote areas, there are music schools. And the goal of this education, of course, is not necessarily to produce award-winning musicians, but learn the craft and learn the appreciation, and children are often encouraged to learn more than one instrument. But I think this is very significant, that music education is easily accessible. And in Reykjavik recently, a music high school was formed where you can learn both classical and rhythmic music and jazz. And we have the Academy of the Arts in Reykjavik. And these are not private schools. The municipalities, each municipality takes care of the cost of the education up till grade 5 in the music school curriculum. And after that, the state chips in. So there is another aspect. We live on an island, we're isolated. It's a small society. And perhaps because of that, we really want to be in the know what's happening in the world. We of course consider, Paris, Rome, London, New York, Reykjavik. That's how we would like to be seen. So the Icelanders, they tend to follow trends, and they tend to dare to be outside the box. So and this entrepreneurial thought is encouraged. If you're a bit of an eccentric, you can do what you want to do. It's a crazy idea, but go ahead. So indie music comes from here, not necessarily the mainstream stuff. And yes, creativity is very much the thing here. We publish and read a ridiculous amount of books also, and we have a veritable Christmas flood of books. So a good book is the best Christmas present here.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. It's so wonderful to see that, for such a small country, it's got such a rich music education and part of the culture. It's really wonderful to see that. And so it's really clear that music is a big part of Iceland's culture in general, and therefore we'd really like to take a look at some of the venues that are available in Iceland to performing groups. The Hof Cultural Center in Akureyri, as well as Harpa Hall, the Frikirkja, and the Hallgrímskirkja, all in Reykjavik. So today we'll start off in the north of Iceland by taking a look at the Hof Cultural and Conference Center in Akureyri. With excellent sound systems and a maximum capacity of more than 500, it's a very popular venue for many professional ensembles as well as student groups. I understand you've prepared a video in which we'll hear from Atli Orvason, a renowned film and score composer, with credits including the Pirates of the Caribbean series, Angels and Demons, The Holiday, and Man of Steel. Margaret, could you kindly introduce our first video?
Yes, I would like to introduce Hof, but I would like also to tell you a little bit about Akureyri. This is the capital of north of Iceland. It is a charming city located within 5 hours drive from Reykjavik in the beautiful Eyjafjörður Fjord, which is right beneath the Arctic Circle. Akureyri is known for its nice atmosphere and offers many things to do, not only within the city, but also in the area surrounding Akureyri. They have charming fishing villages, as well as the world-known Lake Mývatn, which is one of the top attractions in Iceland. Akureyri was and still is an important hub for commerce, production, arts, culture, and education. They even have a university there. The cultural hall Hof was opened in the year of 2010 and is a beautiful building located right in the harbor and at the same time in the center of Akureyri. This means that it is within a walking distance from the main hotels in the city. The name Hof comes from Old Norse and means a temple from the heathen time, but also it means a hall. The following video will explain the most important facts on this beautiful venue.
Hello, my name is Atli Orvason, and I want to talk to you a little bit about this wonderful building we're in, which is called Hof Concert Hall and Cultural House in Akureyri in Iceland. I've spent most of my professional career writing music for film and television, but also had the good fortune to conduct and perform in several concerts in this great house. I lived in Los Angeles for a long time, but during that time this amazing building was erected, and I never realized what a big influence this would have on my life and how much use and joy I would get out of it. Hof has 2 concert halls, a professional recording studio, and a restaurant and several other facilities. But first let's talk about the halls. There's one 500-seat hall and another smaller 200-seat hall. Both are wonderful places to perform, but they also happen to be brilliant places to record and record all kinds of music. But primarily, this is a performance house. Hof is home to the North Icelandic Symphony Orchestra and Sinfonia Nord, but has also hosted various international symphony orchestras, ballets, rock and roll bands, stand-up comedians, you name it. One of the truly impressive things about this building is the technological level that it's at. It can basically, host just about any kind of performance, and the stage in the larger hall is very large. We have also been recording a lot of film music in this building using the recording studio that I mentioned before, and we've clients such as Netflix, Lionsgate, Sony, Apple, and the list goes on and on. And truly, recording with Sinfonia Nord in Hof is now on the map as one of the leading sort of destinations to record orchestral music. And one of the other amazing things about this building is the level of technology and the facilities, which can basically host just about any event you can imagine. The location of Akureyri is very unique. It's in the north of Iceland, sitting on a fjord, and Hof is literally at the water's edge. And a lot of people who come up here are really, really delighted and impressed with the town of Akureyri. It's sort of a micro cosmopolitan place, but you never have to stay longer in the car than about 5 minutes, and just about everything is in walking distance, including world-class restaurants, hotels. The ski area is 10 minutes away, so there's a lot to do. It's sort of funny when you go pick up people at the airport. They get out of a 50-passenger turboprop plane coming from Reykjavik, walk out of the plane and see this sort of smallish town on about 100 kilometers south of the Arctic Circle, and basically, which has no business having an orchestra and a concert hall this amazing. So, it's just been a really, really incredible journey that we've taken with Sinfonia Nord. And some of the titles we've recorded for are Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, The Dig, the Eurovision film for Netflix, several of the BBC Planet series, Informer for BBC television, and the list really goes on and on. And my recording engineer, Steve McLaughlin from London, who has recorded at Abbey Road and Air Studios forever, is starting to compare the quality here with those London recording facilities and the musicianship of the players as well. An interesting technological aspect to Hof is the fact that there's fiber optics everywhere, which means that we can set up a mic just about anywhere and connect it with the control room upstairs. This makes it possible to record in almost an infinite number of different sort of sounding spaces. I've done a recording session downstairs in the coat rack, basically, with my friend Oliver Arnalds, and for one of the songs on his Island Songs album. I've done 2 concerts in the big hall with a full orchestra, and we've experimented with recording drums in very, very echoey rooms behind the stage. So there's almost an infinite possibility of different venues and sounds that you can get here. I had the pleasure recently of doing a sort of COVID remote concert in the big hall as well, and the whole concept was basically a concert without an audience. Once again, the technological sort of know-how and the strength of the tech team here really showed with the lighting design. Just the technological aspect of that, which made it just such an easy process. And actually the camera crew especially mentioned how brilliant it is to come in here and work with these guys, because everything's available and the people here know every single sort of board and cable and plug in the house. So it's just, it's a very tight-knit sort of machine.
Fantastic. That was a really fascinating video. It's incredible to see such a world-renowned venue and recording studio in such a small northern Icelandic city. It just speaks to the strength of the culture and the music scene in Iceland for sure. So thank you for that video. We next will travel southwest towards the capital city of Reykjavik. Situated on a hilltop near the center of Reykjavik, Hallgrímskirkja is one of the city's best-known landmarks. Applications are required to perform in this prestigious venue, but it is a must-see destination on any Icelandic performance tour for sure. In fact, I understand that performances at Hallgrímskirkja are particularly memorable due to their somewhat unusual nature. Hlín, could you tell us a bit more about the setup at this venue?
Yes. Hallgrímskirkja is a very unusual building, and the acoustics are quite overwhelming. Sometimes the ensembles that perform are situated in the front of the church, in front of the altar, where there isn't an altarpiece, but windows through which the light shines in. But at other times, and particularly in recent years, people will be facing the exit and therefore the big beautiful organ. And the audience are facing the organ, and underneath the organ, around and in front of the entrance, there will be places for the choir to stand and for the orchestra to be on. So it's sort of back to front, and it has been a popular choice in recent years because of the acoustics.
Fantastic. Wow, that would be quite an experience to attend a concert there for sure, or even perform in Hallgrímskirkja. That's really interesting. And in addition to the Hallgrímskirkja in Reykjavik, we have the Fríkirkja, which is also an important church and also open for concerts. So now we're going to take a look at a video featuring both of these beautiful churches in Reykjavik.
Fríkirkjan, or the Free Church of Reykjavik, is an instantly recognizable feature along the banks of Lake Tjörnin. Its green rooftop, an anomaly against the often traditional red-roofed churches across the country. The Free Church in Reykjavik is a church which is apart from the state church. It is an independent Lutheran Free Church of Iceland. The church was consecrated in 1903. Only 2 years later, the church was lengthened to a design by architect Rögnvaldur Ólafsson. In 1924, the church was enlarged again. A chancel was built of concrete at the western end, and various alterations were built on either side of the forechurch, supervised by master builder Guðmundur H. Þorláksson. This beautiful traditional wooden church has some of the best acoustics in the city. It is particularly loved for a classical show, even though there are many concerts with popular music as well, having housed artists such as Sufjan Stevens, John Grant and Sigur Rós, to name but a few. Fríkirkjan has a capacity for 500 concert guests and a great location, being both accessible and smack in the city center. A lovely venue. Hallgrímskirkja. Situated on a hilltop near the center of Reykjavik, the church is one of the city's best-known landmarks and is visible throughout the city. State architect Guðjón Samúelson's design of the church was commissioned in 1937. He is said to have designed it to resemble the trap rocks, basalt rock formations and glaciers of Iceland's landscape. It took 41 years to build the church. Construction started in 1945 and ended in 1986, but the landmark tower was completed long before the whole church was finished. The crypt beneath the choir area was consecrated in 1948. The steeple and wings were completed in 1974, and the nave was consecrated in 1986. At the time of construction, the building was criticized as too old-fashioned and as a blend of different architectural styles. The church was originally intended to be less tall, but the leaders of the Church of Iceland wanted a spire so as to outshine Landakotskirkja, which was the cathedral of the Catholic Church in Iceland. The interior is 1,676 square meters, which is 18,040 square feet. The crown jewel of the church is the organ. It is a large pipe organ by the German organ builder Johannes Claes of Bonn. It has electronic action. The pipes are remote from the 4 manuals and pedal console. There are 102 ranks, 72 stops, and 5,275 pipes. It is 15 meters or 49 feet tall and weighs 25 metric tons, which are 25 long tons or 28 short tons. Its construction was finished in December 1992. Because of its size, Hallgrímskirkja has renowned acoustics and reverb to spare. Capacity is quite big, anywhere ranging from 500 to 1,200 persons, depending on the attendance setup. We all love Hallgrímskirkja. We highly recommend Hallgrímskirkja for any classical event.
Wonderful. It's great to see these two beautiful churches in Reykjavik that are both, gorgeous and right in the heart of the city, and also wonderful places for concerts and performances. And to also see this beautiful scenery in and around Reykjavik. It's such a gorgeous city and country in general. So just to see that beautiful marriage of the natural beauty and the city itself was lovely. So last but not least, one of the most prestigious venues in Iceland is the world-renowned Harpa Hall. It's a gorgeous venue with a number of stages and performance opportunities, and would be on almost any proposal since it is great for orchestras, choirs, or really any type of ensemble. We have a really lovely video here featuring Harpa Hall, where we can see both the inside and outside and take a look at the architecture and all that it has to offer. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Harpa, Iceland's main concert hall and conference center. It's the home of the Iceland Symphony Orchestra, the Icelandic Opera, the Reykjavik Big Band, and a tiny little mouse that goes by the name Maximus Musicus. He loves listening to artists from all around the world, rehearsing and performing in our many different concert halls. So do I. My name is Ingibjörg Fríða. I'm a musician here from Reykjavik, but I've also worked as a tour guide in Harpa for around 7 years, so I know these halls pretty well. I want to show you some of my favorite ones, so come with me. Harpa was opened in 2011 as the first professionally designed performance venue and concert hall for symphony orchestras, as well as chamber groups, choirs, solo artists, jazz, pop and rock bands, electronic musicians, and so on. It's a multi-purpose, multifunctional hall with endless possibilities for creative artists and event planners. Harpa was designed by the Danish architectural firm Henning Larsen Architects in cooperation with the Icelandic firm Batteríð Architects. This here stunning display of glass, light and color is a facade designed by Ólafur Eliasson, a Danish Icelandic artist. Acoustic quality was the guiding light of the designing phase, so the acoustic consulting firm Artec Consultants was brought on board to design multifunctional, adjustable acoustic mechanism for all the halls. All of our concert halls are named after natural elements. This one is called Norðurljós, and those are the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights that dance around on dark and starry winter nights. It's popular with classical musicians for its great acoustic qualities, solo artists, choirs, chamber groups, but it's also used by the symphony orchestra on occasion. It's a box-in-a-box type design with good sound isolation and adjustable acoustic mechanism. It takes around 450 people in seats, but you can also have a standing audience and arrange the stage however you like in this open space. The reverberation time or the acoustics in this hall can be changed and adjusted according to different types of music performance by pulling up or down these felt drapes that are here behind these walls. Pulled all the way down, you have more of a conference type acoustics, more for rock or pop bands. But if you pull them all the way up to the ceiling, then you have very open space, lot of reverberation, and you feel like you're standing in a big cathedral where the smallest, most delicate sound can really fill the space. Now we walk from Norðurljós Hall to Eldborg, the main hall. We go through the backstage area where we have a lot of dressing rooms for the artists, as well as a green room, a cafeteria, and a place to hang out. But now we go through this heavy, large door. Are you ready for your performance? You're about to step onto the stage of Eldborg, our main concert hall. But be careful, Eldborg is a volcano, and an active one at that. Have you ever performed inside an active volcano? I have, and I can tell you it's something else. Eldborg Concert Hall is named after Eldborg, a volcano in the west of Iceland, and that is really reflected in the choice of color here. These beautiful wooden walls colored in a warm red. This hall was designed for the Iceland Symphony Orchestra, and they perform here almost every week during their season. But we also have other kinds of performing rock bands, pop bands, and so on, as well as opera productions by the Icelandic Opera and ballets by visiting ballet companies. The stage is around 400 square meters in size, but we also have choir balconies here behind for choirs to perform, but also for additional seating. The hall takes around 1,600 to 1,800 in seats and has world-class acoustics. This stage has also welcomed some of the world's most renowned musicians, orchestras and conductors, such as Joshua Bell, Maria João Pires, Jonas Kaufmann, the London Philharmonic, the Berlin Philharmonic, Philip Glass, Gustavo Dudamel, and of course our very own Víkingur Heiðar, Hildur Guðnadóttir, Sigur Rós and Björk. We can change the reverberation time inside this hall by milliseconds, ranging from 1 second to 3 seconds, by opening and closing these doors up there, leading into the reverberation spaces behind these walls. We also have the same system as we had in the other hall I showed you, with the felt drapes pulled up and down. So we can do a full symphony orchestra concert here during daytime, then go into a fast turnover and do a big pop concert in the evening. But that could not be done without the wonderful staff working here in Harpa, the technicians and the stage workers. Once, Víkingur Heiðar, our most renowned concert pianist, did a music festival here in Harpa, the Reykjavík Midsummer Music during summer solstice. The theme was Maximal Minimal, where the musicians were exploring opposites in music. Having said that, let's go from our largest concert hall of around 1,000 square meters to our smallest one. This hall, Kaldalón, is named after a lagoon in the West Fjords, but it's also the family name of one of our best composers, Sigvaldi Kaldalóns. The hall is around 200 square meters and takes around 195 in seats. It's a movie theater setup with the stage down there and entrance to the stage left. It has similar acoustic design as Norðurljós, the Northern Lights hall, with these felt drapes pulled up and down here in the sides. This hall is ideal for smaller productions, chamber groups, as well as soloists and choirs. Harpa Concert Hall and Conference Center is the heart of culture here in Reykjavík. We're open every day from morning to evening, and every day there's something new going on. You can expect anything. There have been wedding ceremonies exactly where I stand, but also a lot of concerts. The public space is great for performing. The acoustics are good, and this glass facade creates a magical setting for your music. Why not perform here in the staircase? Like I said in the beginning, Harpa has endless options and possibilities for concerts, performances, conferences, meetings, workshops, and seminars. Thank you for joining me, and we look forward to seeing you all here at Harpa.
Fantastic. Well, it was lovely to see the inside and the details of this beautiful concert hall, world-renowned concert hall in Reykjavik. Hlín, could you tell us a little bit about your experience performing in Harpa? What makes it so special, and how is it different than other performance halls that you've performed in personally?
Yes. The building itself, it's a work of art. And I was once fortunate enough to be part of a tour where one of the architects who designed it was with us. And he told me that the original idea for the house, for the building, is a rock in the ocean and there's an ocean wave breaking on it. So the inside, you see all this dark concrete with Icelandic minerals mixed with the concrete in the wall, and then the glass dome around it, signifying the water. So you can always sense the vicinity of the water and the harbor outside. And it's a different atmosphere from concert hall and houses built in Europe in past centuries. So the acoustics in Eldborg and Norðurljós, they're really sublime. And I personally, if I'm going to a performance, I quite like in Eldborg in the big hall to be up in the balconies, even the topmost. Then I have an overview over the stage and the action. And still, the opera singer, he's telling me his tale right here. You know, it's all there. It's quite wonderful. The setting in the small hall is much more intimate, and has its own charm. It's really fitting for chamber music and smaller ensembles. The point she made at the end to perform in the open spaces, that's really quite fun as well. There are two open spaces that have now become a bit traditional. One of them is on the first floor. It's Harpakona, and it faces the city. It's where the harp player was sitting in the video, and there's something wonderful about having the whole space open up and down to the ground floor, and if you can cope with hearing the ding of the elevator once in a while. And there might even be tourists walking past the seated audience. It's a wonderful venue for all kinds of music. And also there's another one facing the harbor called Flói or Bay, where the symphony orchestra has had sort of salon or smaller chamber concerts on Friday afternoons.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, I definitely would love to get there myself now, seeing it and hearing your experiences there. It seems like a gorgeous hall. And as you can see, from the videos and just, even the architecture of Harpa, the natural beauty of Iceland is such an important part of the culture and just the attraction of one of the main attractions of going to Iceland as well. It's really interesting to see it, in collaboration with architecture and different aspects of the culture. So I'm interested, Margaret, could you tell us a little bit about the very unique performing experiences that a group could have amidst the natural beauty of the country?
Yes, what comes to my mind is the experience of singing or playing in a cave. Iceland is a very unique destination, I would say, to try this kind of performance out. If the group is visiting, usually the groups are going to different sites of Iceland and seeing the attractions. And if they try out going visiting a cave, then there is a cave, for example, in Borgarfjörður in west of Iceland, and in Snæfellsnes, also in the west of Iceland, a beautiful peninsula. In Westman Islands, there's a great cave as well, but also only about 30 minutes out from Reykjavik, there is a cave called Raufarhólshellir, a long name, and there you go inside with a guide, and you have headlights on your helmet, and then you are led through the cave to the end of the cave, or almost, and then you stand there in a big hall, because there's a wide tube, you could say, and there's lava walls and lava ceiling and ground, and then the guide turns off the light, and you are to turn off the headlights as well. And then you experience the total darkness and no sound at all, just silence. And it's a great opportunity for a choir to sing, or if a violist would bring the violin, or as an example, and try that out. And it's a great acoustic to experience, but of course the group would do this only for themselves. It's like an experiment, you could say, but it's a very unique one and unforgettable one.
Oh, that sounds really fun and so unique to Iceland, and something that could be really interesting to many groups or choirs to go and just experience that, in addition to formal concerts. So that's fantastic. Thank you for letting us know about that. I think we have gotten to the point where we would love to take some questions from our audience. I don't see any quite yet, but if you have questions or things that you'd like to, just learn a little bit more about, please post your question in the Q&A for us. I do see a question here. Let's see. And this seems like a good question for Margaret. Mm-hmm. What is the best time of year to visit Iceland? Would you recommend visiting in the summer or in September to see the Northern Lights? What are some of your recommendations for time of year? That's a great question.
Well, I would say that it depends a little bit on the purpose of the trip. If you would like to get in connection with another group of like a choir or a music group, then I would think that the winter would be more ideal because like the music schools, they are active during the winter, and during the summer they are just on holiday, on a long holiday, because it's bright all day and night. And but if you would like also to experience the summer, you know, the midnight sun, etc., and perform like in Skálholt in the south of Iceland or somewhere else, then the summer is very nice. It also depends on the budget. You know, the winter is less expensive than the summer, but it's just, you know, a matter of choice. For performance with a school or a student college choir, for example, then, for example, Easter is not the best time because everyone is also having an Easter break as well. So it really depends on the purpose and if you have something to add, Clean, to this.
Oh, Clean, I think you, oh, there
Sorry,
you
yeah.
go.
Yes, of course, for the most the most clement and friendly weather is definitely in summertime. And it's not impossible to find ensembles to work with in the summertime. It's just more work for us because even the choirs have quite long summer breaks. But I really recommend, or I mean, if you're there in September or April, May, September, that's when the wheels start turning again here. But for the overall experience, well, I remember one wonderful group that came in March before Easter. That was quite a magical tour. One group from America.
Great, that's really helpful. Thank you. And we have a kind of a subsequent question to that discussion. Thank you from Maria for submitting your question. When exactly is school out for the summer in Iceland?
Usually May is getting towards the end of the season for the schools in Iceland. The end of all schools are in beginning of June, but the program during the winter, it ends more or less in May, I would say, and then it restarts again in September. Also, if you are working, would like to work with a school in Iceland, then you need to have a very good advance, and because usually things are planned, the programs are planned with good advance. So it's the sooner the better.
Great, that's really helpful to know. And another question that would be really interesting to answer is, outside of Reykjavik, because that's kind of the most well-known city, what other cities would you recommend a group visiting when they come to Iceland?
Well, Iceland is more or less Reykjavik, the city, and Akureyri, you would say maybe. But otherwise, there are towns and
Right.
smaller communities and fishing villages, etc. Traveling in Iceland from Reykjavik, you would definitely need to go and visit the Golden Circle, during which there is no town exactly. And the south of Iceland, there are a few towns that you would drive through or stop by at. But Akureyri is more like there is something more going on there than in the smaller towns. But in general, if you're traveling in Iceland, you are seeing the sights, then definitely you are more or less visiting some natural like sites like waterfalls and geysers, the geyser area, and glaciers as well. And the landscape is very has a lot of variety. It changes all the time. You have black sand. You can experience black sand and shore and a glacier at the same time, more or less the same time. It's only within maybe half an hour distance, etc. So it's you can experience very different things within a day. So the cities, there are not many, you could say, in a way, but the fishing villages and the towns, they are very charming.
For sure, and I'm sure it would be lovely to see, a city and some of the natural beauty in a smaller town as well. And it seems like it has that lovely combination. So that's great.
May I add something if there's not
Yes, please.
In my experience, there is always also the element of surprise. I mean, the landscape is very versatile. You drive for 45 minutes and suddenly you see something completely different, which is why if you plan to come individually one day, it's always a great opportunity or experience to go around the island. But what I've experienced is that you are on the way somewhere and someone sees a mountain and would you look at the light and what is happening over there and look at this, and this is what happens on the trip. So yes, there's a destination, but there is so much also for us Icelanders. One of my very good friends we were driving away from Reykjavik and we saw this incredible sunset in summer, and they go on forever. And he asked me, do you ever get used to this? And I had to say no. It's particularly those of us who've lived abroad. It's always, but all of us, there's always this country is always showing us something and offering us something. And I think we are, as Icelanders, very much in love with the nature we have. And just one point I've just thought of. There was a big hotel opening, very fancy and fine in Reykjavik. And I was one of the guides who was introducing the town and the hotel to journalists from abroad. And we were on a not such a big bus, and we were going from place to place in Reykjavik and tasting beautiful things, seeing beautiful things, and we had a bit of time to kill. And I said to the bus driver, we can't be too early there. Let's go to the lighthouse. Let's see what happens. There was a bit of a storm, and the hair was going like this. This was the high point of the trip. There's a lighthouse, and there's the shore, and there's the ocean. It's on the tip of Reykjavik, so to speak. Seltjarnarnes, Lighthouse Grotta was amazing, and everybody loved it. And this was a spur of the moment thing. So this is often the experience, that the country, you make plans and the country offers you this and then some.
Wow, that sounds great. So some of those, kind of spontaneous moments are sometimes the best when you're traveling, when you're not expecting something, and that's fantastic to hear. I'm sure Iceland has lots of that to offer, especially with the natural beauty. So that's wonderful. It makes me want to go there right now to see it. Wonderful. Well, I don't see any additional questions at the moment. So I think that will wrap up our webinar for today. And I'd sincerely like to thank you both, Hlín and Margaret, for your expertise and for making us all want to travel to Iceland right now, for sure. So thank you so very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And before we say goodbye for today, I did want to make sure that everyone who is attending is aware of our new music appreciation tours. We have been holding some tour info sessions, and we will be holding more in January. We've got 2 itineraries, one in Germany and the Czech Republic, and those info sessions were held in the last couple of weeks, and the recordings for those are on our website. And we have a second itinerary in Austria, and we'll be doing some more info sessions about those coming up in January. So stay tuned for the dates, which will be coming out very soon. And we'd love for you all to join us and learn more about our new music appreciation tours. We are going to end our webinar today with a beautiful slideshow to highlight some of the natural beauty in Iceland. The music accompanying the slideshow is by Duo Fjara, and the lovely voice that you'll be hearing is none other than Hlín's. So thank you, Hlín. She will be singing an Icelandic lullaby, which every Icelander knows, called Sofu Unga Atin Mín, written by Sven Björnsson. who also wrote the national anthem of Iceland. So please enjoy, and thank you so much for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Svarta